You have sat in meetings full of smart people making terrible decisions and wondered why nobody sees the bigger picture. You're sitting in a leadership meeting. Someone turns to you and asks, "What do you think the strategic move is here?" And your mind goes completely blank. Not because you're not smart, but because nobody ever taught you how to think strategically. Most people confuse being busy with being strategic. They solve whatever lands on their desk without asking whether it's the right problem to solve. Strategic thinking isn't a talent you're born with. It's a skill, and you can build it from zero. Today I'm going to walk you through 5 shifts in how you think that will change how every leader in the room sees you. The first shift is learning to zoom out before you zoom in. Most professionals operate at ground level, they see the task, the deadline, the deliverable. Strategic thinkers operate at altitude. Before touching any problem, they ask, where does this sit in the bigger picture? Here's what this looks like in practice. Say your VP asks you to cut costs in your department by 15%. A tactical thinker starts slashing budget lines immediately. A strategic thinker pauses and asks, what's driving this request? Is the company preparing for a downturn, or are we reallocating resources toward a new product line? The answer completely changes which costs you cut. Amazon's leadership principle "Think Big" exists because Jeff Bezos learned early that local optimization often kills global strategy. Train yourself to ask, why is this happening now, before you ask, how do I fix this? The second shift is about asking better questions, specifically, second-order questions. First-order thinking asks, what happens if we do this? Second-order thinking asks, and then what happens after that? Most career mistakes come from first-order thinking dressed up as strategy. A product manager launches a feature because customers requested it, that's first order. A strategic product manager asks, if we build this, what do customers expect next? Does this lock us into a roadmap we don't want? Will our engineering team be buried in maintenance for the next 2 quarters? McKinsey consultants are trained to use a method called "so what, now what" after every analysis. You state a finding, then ask, so what does this mean and now what should we do about it? Start applying this in every meeting you attend. When someone presents data, don't just nod, ask the second-order question out loud. People will notice. The third shift is mapping stakeholders and their real incentives. Strategy doesn't happen in a vacuum. Every decision you make exists inside a web of people with competing priorities. A project that looks perfect on paper can die because you didn't realize the CFO's bonus is tied to margin targets, not revenue growth. Or because the engineering director quietly wants your initiative to fail so her team gets the resources instead. This isn't politics, this is reality. The best strategic thinkers I've worked with keep a simple stakeholder map for every major initiative. 3 columns: who cares about this, what do they actually want, and what would make them block or support it. When Satya Nadella took over Microsoft, his first strategic move wasn't a product decision, it was understanding which leaders were aligned with transformation and which were protecting their fiefdoms. Do the same mapping in your own world, even if your world is a 10-person team. The fourth shift is thinking in trade-offs instead of solutions. Weak strategic thinkers present one option and defend it. Strong strategic thinkers present 3 options with the trade-offs clearly laid out. This matters because strategy is fundamentally about choosing what not to do. Every yes is a no to something else. When you walk into a room and say, here are 3 paths, here's what we gain and lose with each, and here's my recommendation, you sound like someone who should be in the room where decisions get made. Practice this with small decisions first, even something like choosing a vendor or picking a meeting format. Lay out the options, name the trade-offs, make a recommendation. Roger Martin, the former dean of Rotman School of Management, calls this integrative thinking, the ability to hold 2 opposing ideas in tension and produce a synthesis that's better than either one alone. That's the muscle you're building. The 5th shift, and this is where most people stall, is building a feedback loop on your own strategic thinking. You made a recommendation 6 months ago. Did it play out the way you predicted? If not, where did your thinking break down? Most people never revisit their strategic calls. they move on to the next fire. But the fastest way to sharpen strategic thinking is to keep a simple log. Write down your prediction, your reasoning, and revisit it 90 days later. Ray Dalio built Bridgewater into the world's largest hedge fund partly by institutionalizing this exact practice. He called it believability-weighted decision-making. You don't need a hedge fund to do this. A notebook works fine. So here's your one action for today. Pick a decision you're currently facing at work, even a small one. Write down 3 possible paths, the trade-off for each, and your recommendation. Then set a calendar reminder to revisit it in 30 days. That single habit, repeated consistently, will do more for your strategic thinking than any MBA course. You're not starting from zero anymore. You just started. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching. If this gave you one idea you can use today, hit like and subscribe. See you in the next one.